Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we're going to be talking about the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. And my question is, if you could find 5 missing second Doctor episodes, which 5 would you pick? You could get any 5 of them magically somehow. Which 5 would you want to find? Again, not stories, episodes. So the question here gets, would you prefer to spend all 5 of them on a completely missing story like Fury or Power, or do you want to divvy them up a bit so you can have maybe a little slice of different stories, or maybe you want to complete a story that's almost done like Invasion or Web of Fear? That's an interesting way to decide. Do you want most of Fury back, most of Power back, or do you just jump around a bit? Well, for me, my first 2 would be episode 1 of Moonbase and episode 3 of Moonbase. Part of this is because I love the Moonbase. It's probably my favorite Cyberman story, even if it isn't my favorite Cyberman design. And don't get me wrong, I love the animations for episodes 1 and 3. They are literally my favorite animations. I ranked the animations recently, and Moonbase is number 1. I love those animations. There are actually shots in that animation that probably beat some of the surviving footage, like the Cybermen walking around on the moon. That's really well done in the animation. And there are some of the shots of the Cybermen in the animation look very eerie, very creepy, which I don't think the live action completely pulls off. I don't really like that cyber design. But Troughton is just on fire in the Moonbase, and the way he is with his expressions and everything and his facial features, it really sells the story. One of the reasons the Moonbase is my favorite Cyberman story is down to Troughton's acting. Honest to God, he's so great in it. I love that episode 2 cliffhanger. So I would love to get that back just so I could see the whole thing in its entirety, because I have a feeling I would love it even more. It's such a good story. Another one I would pick would be episode 1 of Power of the Daleks. I just feel like that's an important one, because to have those first few moments of the second Doctor, some footage of him right after he regenerates does exist. I've seen it. But just to have that whole episode, to see him kind of fitting into the role would be really nice. Plus, it'd just be really nice to have some of Power. And if I could have one episode of Power, that's the one I would want. I really would love having it. Just one of Power would be great. But episode 1 would be good, just to see Troughton learning the role, getting the feel of it, seeing everybody acclimate to him, seeing the colony acclimate to him when they think he's the inspector. So that is definitely the one from Power I would pick. And then I would also pick episode 1 and episode 4 of The Invasion, because I love The Invasion. The Invasion is fantastic, and if I could use my last 2 picks to complete it, I would. I think the animation for Invasion is pretty good. It has its issues, but I do think it holds up really well. It's really impressive when you keep in mind it was the first one, and it was done like in 2006, several years before any of the others. I think it still works really well, but I would love to watch that 8-parter in its entirety, because I think it's paced well, I think it's scripted well, I think it's shot well. I think it's one of Troughton's best stories, and if we had the whole thing, I think it would go even further up in people's estimations. And those are the 5 I would pick. I do want to point out that I did originally have Web on this list, episode 3 of Web. You can actually see where I scratched it out right here, because I was going to say episode 3 of Web, because I do kind of wish we would find that, and I am giving an honorable mention here, because Web of Fear is a good story. The only reason I didn't list it is I find Web of Fear to be really good, but I also find it to be very overrated, pretty much like Series 5 in a whole. There's not a single story in Series 5 that I think deserves its reputation, or at least deserves its good reputation. I find Tomb of the Cybermen great but overrated. I find Enemy of the World great but overrated. I find Web of Fear great but overrated. I find Fury from the Deep terrible just because of the animation. And then and Ice Warriors is just very mediocre to begin with. And I haven't seen Abominable and Wheel yet, because I'm waiting for them to be animated. So that's the only reason Web didn't make the list. I would like for Web to be complete, especially since the missing episode is when we first meet Lethbridge Stewart. But I had the other episodes on my list just took precedent. I wanted that episode of 1 of Power just too much to throw Web on there. So I'd like to know what you think. What 5 episodes would you pick if you could only restore 5 episodes from Troughton's era, and why would you pick the 5 you picked? And what do you think of my choices? I would like to know. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button. I'm always looking for more subscribers. We crossed 500 subscribers recently, and we're already over 530. The channel's really been growing lately. Very excited about that. My goal's 1,000 now. I really do want to hit 1,000. There's so many things that open up when you hit 1,000, like that community tab, so I can make posts, I can do polls, I can post pictures. It really will help me grow the channel, so I'm trying to hit 1,000 as soon as possible. If you want to Help me out with that if you enjoy what I do. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me financially in any way. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. And for the entire month of October, anyone who joins at any tier level gets access to the videos I'm posting. I do behind-the-scenes bloopers. I do behind-the-scenes stuff, just talking about me and my video process and my shelves. I'm also doing a Patreon-only ranking of the doctors right now, so if you would like access to that, only $2 gets you access to that. It's a 5-video series. The first 2 should be up at this point. If you're interested, check it out. Most importantly, thank you for watching.